Hey, everybody, welcome to the CS Executive Brain Trust. We just had an on-fire discussion about the intersection between product and CS. Some of our CS execs were coming from a place where they don't have a relationship with product, where products are released and they find out from the customer about the new release of product, all the way over to clients, client success and customer support executives that have a great standing relationship. And so we came up, we brought our heads together and we came up with ideas based off of what Diana shared with us. And we came up with some ideas on how to build better relationships. Some of the top ones that were most voted were the number one was mapping KPIs and OKRs to product initiatives with shared goal and communicated measurement. And then volunteering to QA, start design with customers' input and work backwards, correct reporting on which customers face which issues. We had a ton of ideas around how you can do that. So we've also got this amazing panel discussion. Some people here on this call are going to share their experience with building better relationships with product. But I also wanted to give floor to Diana Barisha, who actually led this discussion. She's the Director of Global Customer Solutions at edX. Diana, would you mind just summarizing what you covered?
Yeah, so talking about how we as leaders in the CS space can work with product to improve the timing in which we learn about releases, make sure that we're at the table early on so that we can have an impact in the decisions that are made, and also just generally how do we increase transparency so we understand what's going on and kind of a two-way street so that product understands the things that we're dealing with.
Perfect summary. And now we've got some linger longers here with me that have some contributions to share as it relates to that journey. Of course, Diana being a veteran in doing this, she shared a lot of great pointers. But I also kind of want to open it up to this panel. Mike Pring, we'll start with you. Share with us some of those lessons learned and some of those wins you've come across in your journey.
Yeah, sure. My experience was with supporting industrial software for industrial customers, high volume, complex products, mission critical software. So, when something goes wrong, the consequences can be pretty serious pretty quickly. So I think what we learned, a few things, and actually goes back to some of the things we've captured today. One was that we had a good relationship with the product team at R&D, but we agreed that they would have a senior person, actually a director level person who was full-time, just working with support. He was like an engagement manager. So he would spend his time working with us. What are the most critical problems you have? What are the most critical customer issues? And he would then report that back to his EVP. And they had a percentage of their budget, actually like 20% of the budget, that was just for fixing issues, not for building new stuff, but for fixing issues. So he had a big say in, what's the most critical thing that needs to happen, which was very powerful. The second thing about that is we had KPIs. We had KPIs about how many customer problems we had that were being held up because of issues that needed to be resolved. And we had KPIs around how much of that was in R&D that we shared. And then the third thing was we collectively, at the executive level, had a meeting with the CEO and his team once a month where we went through that information. And that really puts the support organization and the R&D organization under some pressure because the CEO is saying, okay, so what's happening? How are you bringing down this number of problems? How are you solving these customer issues? And he'd be asking me, but also asking the head of R&D, who'd be asking his director, what are we doing? And I think that visibility and accountability really helped a lot, right, in terms of moving the process forward. I think you need a great relationship, but I think you need to quantify that. I think you need metrics around it, and you need accountability in the organization. I think that's what we had. It worked pretty well. It's never perfect, but I think it worked for us.
Excellent, Mike. I love how you are leveraging the organization's influence to get what you need to get done, and you're bringing value to the table. Awesome. Sean, let's jump over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work at a large financial services organization, and we do B2C, B2B, B2B2C throughout our organization. And obviously, digital transformation is so common now. It's one of the biggest things most organizations are doing and have been doing, since prior to the pandemic, but really was ramped up in recent years. So as products are being developed, especially, digital products, online products, one of the challenges we have seen is that everybody wants to do something. They want to contribute in some way, but what that actually creates is, instead of things like, making things easy to do, it actually creates more complexity. And we were really understanding that the product teams were not thinking about it the right way. And so one of the things we did, and kind of going back to connecting to metrics and connecting to purpose, is twofold. One, we focused on really a story and a set of guidelines to think about to get everybody really understanding what we're doing. And the second is tying that to metrics. And so for us, it was really about, if anyone's read the 2013 book, Effortless Experience, it was all about driving ease within the business for our customers, our clients, et cetera. And what we were talking about is the fact that the more we put into it, the more complex it gets, the harder it is. So a quick story we use is really this idea that says our customers are taking a journey with us, right? Let's think of their journey like a river. And if they're flowing along and they hit a split in the river, it's now they don't know where to go. And then when they, maybe they start getting a bumpy ride on that. Well, ultimately, the more rocks we put in that flow, the more rocks we generate within the river, the worse their experience, and the more they're susceptible to just take their boat and move to another river that's smoother, our competitor. And what we're focused on is, what are those rocks? And we've actually built a program around it, resolution of customers' known struggles. So we really honed that product team on understanding, hey, you've got to think through how you're creating ease, more important than the cool stuff you're developing. And so that connection really got the folks engaged on the story side. And then we added to that the connection to the metric and the measurement of the customer effort score. So now we were able to provide measurement to say, by product, here's your effort score. So on the bookends of that, it started to get people thinking more about, the journeys of the client, not just their product, their task, their widget, but the journey, that river, and how they're influencing either a really nice, easy, float down the river, with a beer in your hand, let's say, versus a class 5 rapids. And it really helps them understand that. And then by being able to measure it, every time they do a deployment, did your effort go up or down? Are you making it easier or harder? And too often what we're seeing, and the product teams are like, dang it, I thought this was really cool, but it made the effort harder. So it got them refocused to make sure. And then at that point, that they almost had forced engagement, for instance, with the call center, because at that, all those pain points end up there. And so that collaboration then has just vetted even more and more capability.
Oh, wonderful, Sean. Quick follow-up question to your example. How are you calculating effort? You mentioned an effort score. Is that put out by the client, or is that put out by you or product? And how
so it's put out by us. So I'm actually in the CX role. We put that out. And so we measure post-call, post-chat on the website, on the mobile app, the customer effort score. And the customer effort score is basically, it comes out of the effortless experience. So I want to give them that credit. CEB and or Gartner now owns the intellectual property of that. But basically, the customer effort score is, you ask the client, tell me how you agree with the following statement. Company made it easy for me to, and then they score it on a 1 to 7 scale, from strongly agree 7, strongly disagree, and basically anything above middle. If you score a 5, 6, or 7, you're in the easy category. Middle or below, you're in the hard category. And we have found in my research, both the research in the book and then my own research with companies I've worked with, that CES, that customer effort score, actually predicts detractors. Something hard, it predicts a detractor on NPS, and even more importantly, it predicts actual behavior of exit, et cetera. So we've really embraced that, and then it helps. It brings us all together to focus on not just easy within my widget, but easy in the journey across channels.
Wonderful, Sean. Thanks for that example. Mike, I think both of you dovetail off each other perfectly. I just got to chat in. One of the sticky notes I liked the most, that caught me by the most surprise and was delightful, was volunteer as support and success, volunteer to QA. What a great way to build a relationship with product. So Michelle, I think that was you that submitted that sticky note and idea. So perhaps you can come off mic and share with us that journey.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Michelle Schock. So we've done a lot of work on my team. I am the director for support and sustainment at the organization that I work for. It's a healthcare software company where we are working on clinical nutrition decisions, as well as patient safety for breast milk tracking and formula tracking for babies. And so it's basically right baby, right order, right milk, right? Super important. Very, very interesting, I would say. So what we thought was most interesting is that in the support role, we're getting all of these tickets that are coming in. The releases are happening. And my team, we didn't have our finger on the pulse of what's going on, and we didn't have a great relationship with product. And so it's something that we've worked on to try and bridge that gap. And one way that we did that is to have somebody from my team, and it could be a junior, which we have L1, all the way up to my senior technical supervisors who, yes, it is volunteer. They volunteer to help test with QA. And the reason I thought that that was important is because we have a customer aspect that our product team doesn't necessarily have. My support team are software engineers and developers by trade. And so they work hand in hand with our customers and understand some of those complex needs that our customers have or specific workflows. And so prior to a release coming, we have an RC where somebody from either my team in the support team or even implementation is a part of this, where one of those software engineers in implementation will go and do some pre-testing just to see how running some of those workflows go prior to the release really coming out. We've done a great job of being able to find, a few defects prior to it making to the client, which is obviously great. But I also use that as an opportunity for my software engineers on support to also get to experience what it looks like for working on the product team. So do they want to move into having a career on the product team? Is that something they're even interested in? Or even, bridging over to QA, is that something they're interested in? It gives them an opportunity to see how all the other teams are functioning and also some networking. We are a remote team, a remote organization. We've always been remote, so it gives an opportunity for people to have some relationships as well and visit and learn from other teams how they're doing things. But we've been doing this for about 3 months now, so it's very new. My team's very excited at having the opportunity, and it's not just big releases. We also do patches. So far so good. Again, it is volunteer. I don't really have to beg anybody to do it because folks on my team want to know, right? We want to know what is happening before a release happens, before our customers would find something like that. So it's been very successful thus far, and it's really helping to bridge the gap between support and product so that we can better build that relationship.
Wow. I'm just, aside from everyone else, I'm very impressed by that, especially how you outline the just how it touches so many different aspects that are so important to a team. One of the topics that comes up all the time with CS is how do we create these tracks where career development can actually happen? And so I think what you're doing is a very key part of that. It's a wonderful, wonderful example. All right, folks, we are out of time for our panel discussion. Mike, Sean, Michelle, and Diana, I want to thank you guys and gals for the wonderful thoughts, wonderful conversation. I hope those out there watching and listening will join us at our next CS Brain Trust. And of course, I want to thank Y Meadows for hosting and sponsoring this gathering of brains in our CS Executive Brain Trust. Thanks for coming today, folks. We'll see you all next month.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, all.
Thanks.
Thank you.